politics on the Illinois House floor, something that you expect to happen whenever legislators come back to an official setting following being off for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's fall veto session time, and what we're expecting to have happen is a whole bunch of conversation about energy policy, about battery storage, about the cost of energy, and what about the transit fiscal cliff, and what about the vetoes that the governor has? Are there going to be any attempts to override some vetoes? I think there were, one full veto and an mandatory veto. So are they getting any of that done? Well, day one was yesterday. Day two's today. Day three could be tomorrow, but I'm hearing the rumor, and again, it's just a rumor. It happens every time we get on the floor of the Capitol. They could cancel. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, be with us tomorrow as review what happens today here with Illinois in Focus Daily. So get to the website. You'll get the headlines in your inbox, but you can wake up with us here for Illinois in Focus Daily. Yesterday, the Illinois House convened, and no actual votes taken on substantive legislation. But when they get together, they have points of personal privilege, where members can raise their hand, stand up, and deliver a speech or welcome their constituents or introduce their page. Yesterday, they said bye-bye to State Representative Tara Costa Howard. She has been appointed a judge, I believe, in DuPage County, and she's no longer going to be a state representative. So with that happening, you had a bunch of people sending off Tara Costa Howard. And it's interesting, Tara Costa Howard came under a lot of heat, if you remember, during spring session with the Homeschool Act. She pushed for that, had the largest amount of opposition to it, and ultimately she pulled the plug. But that, again, put a lot of heat on her, but now she's going to be a judge. So they talk about that. But others got up to talk about recognizing people who've recently lost their lives, like State Representative Adam Niemerg taking a point of personal privilege.
I rise today to honor an extraordinary man of faith, honor, and patriotism. Today is Illinois native Charlie Kirk's birthday. He would have been 32 years old today. Tragically, Charlie was killed on September 10th because of his political beliefs. Charlie believed in the free exchange of ideas. He went into college campuses to discuss the issues of the day, and he always allowed those who disagreed with him to come to the front of the line and ask their questions first. He responded to their questions with integrity and sincerity. The willingness to go into hostile territory and take any question on any subject is rare in this day and age. But this was who Charlie was. And tragically, he was killed for it. Charlie Kirk was a bold and courageous leader who loved God, loved his family, and loved his country. When asked what he wanted to be remembered for, he simply said, courage and faith. He was a remarkable man whose legacy will live on in the hearts and minds of the millions of people he influenced in his short life. When asked why Charlie was killed, Elon Musk said, he was killed because his words made a difference.
Niemerg went on to talk about a resolution he has to further honor Charlie Kirk. And again, yesterday, October 14th, Charlie Kirk's birthday. So Niemerg makes his presentation, talks more about Kirk's impact on politics and free speech, and talks about Kirk's family. All of this happening just an hour before President Donald Trump held a ceremony at the White House Rose Garden honoring Charlie Kirk and giving him a posthumous honor, a medal from the White House. So Charlie Kirk's birthday yesterday. But after Adam Niemerg made that presentation on the House floor, State Representative LaShawn Ford, a Democrat from Chicago, got up to make a point of personal privilege.
I rise today to share some thoughts that I think may surprise some people in this chamber, but they need to be said. I want this chamber to pause today to recognize the life of a man who was taken from us. Today would have been his birthday. He was a father of 3, and those children will never see him again. When he died, some people condemned efforts to memorialize him. They dismissed his value. They demonized him. Those who chose to speak ill of the dead were not castigated. In fact, in many circles, they were celebrated. But I want this chamber to stand for what is right. So today, on his birthday, I want to pause to recognize the life of George Floyd.
Now, watching that live yesterday, when Ford got up, he started talking. This was right after Niemerg made his presentation about Charlie Kirk, honoring him on October 14th, Charlie Kirk's birthday. And I thought Ford was going to also take a moment to talk about that, but he went on and said it was George Floyd's birthday as well, and that is, I checked that out, and kind of fascinating to see that little bit of political dynamic there on the House floor in Illinois. Totally civil, but each individual legislator there seemed to make their point. State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer got up and urged for more political civility in the face of political violence.
Resolution specifically mentions assassination attempts against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. It mentions the attack on Paul Pelosi. It mentions the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. It mentions the attack on United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It mentions the attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. It mentions the Israeli embassy staff that were murdered. It mentions the Speaker of the Minnesota House and the Minnesota State Senator who was shot. It mentions United States Representative from Ohio, Max Miller, and his family who were victims. It mentions recent attacks on ICE that not members of law enforcement, but individuals were shot. It mentions Charlie Kirk being shot. And it also mentions our own governor, J.B. Pritzker, and threats against him and his family. And I thought this was a great way for us to say, it doesn't matter who the attack is on, it is all wrong.
So C.D. Davidsmeyer has that resolution, hoping that to get people on board to pass that. And, they do this from time to time. It's like an official announcement, an official proclamation from the House. So further discussion was had, people sharing their thoughts, welcoming constituents, talking about their page of the day, and so on. But you have State Representative Bob Morgan getting up, and this is a Democrat from Deerfield, seeming to highlight a moment of true bipartisan support for something that President Donald Trump did, and that is the Middle East peace deal, and in particular, getting 20 hostages freed by Hamas.
But of course, I don't have to explain to this body that nothing in the Middle East is simple. And it didn't happen that day or that week. And in fact, it's been several long years. But at this point, thankfully, we've reached a point where peace is in sight. And after so many disappointments and so much diminished hope, again, we can breathe. Despite my personal vehement opposition to some of the domestic policies of the current administration, I'd be remiss if I didn't credit not just former President Biden, but also President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio for their international leadership and diplomacy in making this happen and for bringing the hostages home.
So Morgan praising the Trump administration for their efforts in international peace and bringing hostages home. House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, a Republican from Savannah, recognizing that moment of true bipartisan support for supporting something that President Donald Trump did.
And I just want to say thank you for your kindness and knowledge while many of us visit Israel and understand or try to understand the pain and tragedy and destruction. I think I can say, I know I can say, the House Republicans celebrate this. Also credit the international delegation and President Trump. But more importantly, I think it's important for us as a body to remember how dangerous political hate can be. It's unacceptable. We all condemn it.
So that was day one, essentially, of the Illinois General Assembly. A news conference held about energy issues. We've talked a lot about that. We'll hear a lot more about it. What are they going to do today? Maybe a bunch more news conferences. Maybe they'll talk about tax increases. You got the transit cliff being discussed in a House committee hearing right now as we speak here live to tape with Illinois in Focus Daily. So tons to tackle. So I hope you wake up with us tomorrow morning to see what happens on day 2 of Illinois fall veto session. You're paying for it as an Illinois taxpayer, and well, we've got everything you need to know to start your day. It's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Get the headlines in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com, click on newsletter, and just fill it out, and you'll get those headlines. But also wake up with us here for more Illinois in Focus Daily with the Center Square.